So I moved to Puerto Rico in 1988. I was just working retail and getting a master's degree. And then in 1993, I started working in politics. I worked for a political campaign. And that's where I got my first introduction to this kind of professional writing, so to speak, right? Because I had not really even envisioned doing that before that moment. So a friend of mine who had started working at the New York Daily News called me and said, the Daily News is going to start a Spanish language newspaper and they're hiring. Are you interested? And I was like, yes. And I was a copy editor for several years, then I became a section editor. I was one of the section editors for the Sunday paper, and then I started doing the television sections, and I was doing that when I left. The idea that they had was that the paper would be bilingual, so we would produce our own Spanish language content, and we would translate that to English, and then we would take some material from the English language Daily News, translate it to Spanish, and combine the two in this project. So that's what we did. It was really labor intensive. There was a lot of camaraderie. There was no competition. We were putting together a paper. Like, we're all putting together a paper.
Because Professor Diaz doesn't just make it like, here's PowerPoint, this is how you do journalism. She more just has a conversation with us about, what do you think about this? What do you think about the ethics of this? Here's a real world example. What do you think of that? I feel like it's so much more interactive than just pouring information into our heads, but rather having a two-way sort of street. And that's how journalism should be taught, because it's not something you can learn from a book, and I think she's really aware of that.
I think that when there are big news events, there's a part of me that still, misses a little bit that the adrenaline and the energy of a newsroom in the midst of a breaking news situation. That's really cool. But I also love teaching, and I feel that this is more suited to my temperament and to my skills than the newsroom ever was.
The biggest lesson that I've taken away from her is something that I haven't learned from other journalism professors, which is still remember that you're a person. I feel like a lot of people are like, you gotta get these sources, you gotta get these stories. She's just saying, if there's someone there that needs help and you're being a journalist, you can help them too. And I think that's something that a lot of other teachers leave out, is the human component of journalism, and she makes a great effort to talk about that.
Journalism forces you to have a distance. It's part of the job. You have to have that distance. As a teacher, I don't have that. I don't need that. I actually do away with the distance, and that's a barrier to what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to connect with people, right? But as a journalist, you have to have a bit of distance, and that can be hard, especially when you are passionate about something.